Welcome in, everybody. How you doing out there? Good to see your smiling faces shining right back at me. Yo, Jazzberry Tart, hello. So good to have you today. I hope you are well. We're just getting started here. I am back with this new session after a long hiatus. We started earlier, and then we had a lot of things happen that kind of just delayed. Also, then summertime, etc., outside activities, all of the fun stuff. So there was a little bit of that delayed for stuff. We're going to be doing some Discord tabletop role-playing game tonight. That's the old pen and mechanical pencil and eraser, like real nerds, and then dice, both on the table and in Discord using the Discord dice bot. Actual character sheets, actual. So I don't have my doc cam out tonight, but just to kind of show it to y'all. This is Thorm Onyx Grip. We're playing characters out of the Border Prince region. Okay, I'm getting into the tabletop roleplay Discord. In a little bit, Source will be joining us, and he is our game master / GM, and he will be in chat with us a little bit longer here, a little bit later. So Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is a tabletop role-playing game. Here's the default manual for it. It essentially, I like to think of it as, for one, just to clarify, you've probably heard Warhammer before. You've probably think about Warhammer Space Marines and Warhammer 40K, which is all the kind of the rage right now with that new Space Marine 2 game that just came out. Looks really solid. Just not 100% my jam, so I didn't want to pay full price for it, and I might buy it later. But Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, on the other hand, is in the Warhammer realm or umbrella, but not necessarily in the Warhammer 40K world. They're different, like, realities. Okay, so this isn't necessarily Warhammer 1K, you know, Warhammer 1000, year 1000, and then all the way to 40,000 years later. No, there's no definitive connection in the canon for this, and if I'm wrong, Source will have to let me know. I don't know. Source, are you with us? Okay. Hey, there's SourceConnect right there. That's both mod and GM for this campaign. So we're gonna incorporate a Roll20 board here. So this is the current free level of the system. We started this game out last year. We got delayed by life and circumstances. So here we are once again. We're using the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay version 1. The game system has been evolved up to version 4, but I really like 1. Source really likes 1, so we were thinking about playing. We decided that we should play this one. So my character's name is Thorm Onyx Grip. That's this gentleman here that I wrote. Actually, there's my fat thumb and the back side of the sheet. And then I started typing out some of his backstory here. So not dissimilar to Dungeons and Dragons in the sense you've got swords and shields and armor and plate mail armor and leather armor, and you've got rogues and you've got warrior types, and you've got a lot of that stuff is overlap. That's all under the fantasy umbrella, the general fantasy umbrella. And since we're in the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay world, it's set up in the Karl Franz era of the Warhammer world. Now, we're starting out the campaign in the Border Prince region of the map. So the other thing we're doing is streaming through Discord. So hey, there we go. Now we got Source. We got you live on the cam. All right, welcome in everybody. Meet SourceConnect. Hello, greetings, live and direct. Good to have you, my sir. So now you have a face to go with the voice, which I always like personally for Discord, but we will be switching back and forth between the map and the face. So I did want to give you the face first before we went to the map. So thank you for that, Source. All right, so the Border Prince area here, Barak Var is a dwarven stronghold near the human settlement of Somjak, and those are areas where kind of the main kind of hubs of the area there in the corner of the Border Prince region. I believe we're leaving out of Somjak, is that correct? No, we're leaving out of Barak Var, right? As since I'm like the Onyx Grip family and we're still kind of in that region.
All right. Well, here's the story as it sits. I'm going to get my mouse set over here. Okay. This area is at war with this area, essentially, of the Border Princes. And the current goal is for the dwarf noble to set out on a road trip across to the Varinki Hills to set up a new outpost to start supplying lead and tin and other valuable resources to the war effort. Onyx has a cousin or an uncle that is gone off with a group of other nobles into Greater Europe. I'll show you over here.
Can you explain how it's an analog? Because that makes a big difference. So
it's kind of, I think if we can see the map here, in the top left, we can see what would be England. It's called Albion. I don't know that anybody would be able to read that. Just below that is Bretonia, also known as France. Estalia is Spain. And then the little peninsula is Talea. There you go. And then to the east of that is the Badlands, but northeast of that is the Border Princes, and that's primarily where we're at. And we can see a little bit of Europe in all of that. Germany's just to the north, also known as the Reich or the Empire. They're the main player in the Warhammer world, as far as most of the lore is for that area. There's quite a bit of lore for the Border Princes, and that's awesome, and we're going to use a lot of that. They open up the Border Princes so that you can play noble, and so that's sort of what we're doing. We're gonna make a little town, and we're gonna have our own little Animal Crossing. And here we can zoom in back to the Balkans. I don't know how else to describe it. And the main players are Samjak and Barakvar, dwarf capital and human capital in the area. They have united to push away the Yellow Eye Goblin tribe in a recent war that's left them without a good standing army, but they've pushed the Yellow Eye back, and now we're going to head in to go and try and populate a new town out here. The noble Onyx script was tasked with gathering a group of sturdy adventurers to go, and I think we've got a handful of folks that have rolled up characters, but here we're just starting again. So I don't know, and that is a little bit of a start. I don't know if that was good or not.
No, that was plenty good. The other part I wanted to mention, like he started talking about if you could zoom out to the map, like the whole thing. I wanted to mention a little bit more on the analog. So while this is not a map of the Earth, what we were talking about is there's a little bit of the map of the Earth. It's an analog. It's not directly the same, but it's similar. Not Earth, but it's an analog. It's close. The map looks like it, and I just like to mention that because I like that it's tied geographically, culturally, not the same, but similarities. Stuff's brought over together. So the Reichland's like the core of the empire, right?
Yeah, it's one section of it, one county or duchy.
As Storm Onscript was watching, the expedition with his cousin, which is my other character. I mean, made them be cousins. This guy, Thorm, was more of a little less of a fighter type in his upbringing, but it's realized as he watched his cousin disappear over the horizon with an expeditionary fleet off to the main parts of the empire to raise an army to help fight off these yellow-eyed goblins you see here on this red X. Realized that his life is no longer going to be able to be that book nerdy kind of administrator mindset, like having to come around to the idea that life's changed. It's not really going to be able to go back, at least in his lifetime, as far as even if we battle and successfully take the yellow eye out in one go in say 10 years, it's still, there's going to be defense and excursions beyond. It's like yeah, I guess changing the way of life in a sense in your own head, realizing that you have to do that. And that's where Tharm is at in his motivations for coming out of this shell of an administrator and trying to become the adventurer that he realizes he's going to need to be.
Yep, to run. So the Dr. Salazar's magical ship sails west over the horizon, and you're given your task to gather folks with you.